Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Hobby Dude 007 channel. Want to do a quick shop cart shout out, a channel shout out. I want to bring you up to date on our Nova project in 1/32 scale, and you have got to see the 3D printed engine in 32nd scale that's going to be going in this puppy. Stick around. Okay guys, first up I want to share a brand new channel with you. This is my buddy Henry with Mid-Century Model Works. Henry doesn't live that far from me. In fact, I think he's a member of the South Carolina Model Association too. Go over, check his channel out. Like I said, he's brand new. I think it's maybe he's in his second week, I think. Great content coming up. Check out the tour of his new shop that he's working on. It is really impressive. I'm tickled to death. He jumped in on the small scale build too, and we were on the phone the other night, and he was telling me the direction that he's going to go with it. I'm not going to share that with you. Go over and check it out. He's excited and enthusiastic about sharing. He's got some great talent. So go over and check Henry's channel out. Show him some love. Give him a sub. Give him a like. I think as this channel grows, this will be among my favorites as well. Also, I don't have a shop card on it yet, but Mars over at Mars Garage, I just sent him a shop card. He's working on one, I think. Let me tell you, he's been an enthusiastic modeler for a long time. I think he said it was about 1990 he got into it. He's got a shelf full of great stuff. He not only is a car builder, but he does sci-fi, and I do a little bit of sci-fi on and off. If you remember my geek video that I did about myself about a year ago, I think. But he's got some talent with some Gundams, Transformers, and the diorama stuff that he's doing, automotive dioramas, the other stuff as well. But check it out, because the talent and the skills, he's got it, guys. He's got it. So head over there and check out Mars Garage. I think you'll really like it. And I want to give a plug to another thing that just debuted yesterday, and that is Fred and Luca's bench racing. Luca C. and Fred Henry with West Georgia Rods and Customs, they had a blast doing this thing, you can tell. I sat through it kind of chuckling and smiling, and it's bench racing, and that's what it is. And they spent this episode talking about the Streaker Vet, the new Streaker Vet. And I know Tim over at Throttle Power had built one of those things and did an outstanding job with it too. This is going to be one of those that I'm really going to enjoy, kind of like the model car guys on YouTube with Brian, BG, and Luca as well. Absolutely great stuff. So be sure you head over there and check them out. Okay, let's get over to this 32nd scale Nova. Our suspension and exhaust system really look good for 32nd scale. I cut this off the sprue and was going to clean it up a little bit, and I started thinking, well, the direction I'm going, I'm probably not going to use it. But this thing really looks good, and I like the fact that even in 32nd scale, it was molded separate from the differential and the leaf springs. But it really is nice. If you consider building one of these, it's fairly well detailed kit. Speaking of that rear end, you know, we're going to kind of semi-pro street this, so it's going to have some fat tires, so I'm going to have to be moving frame rails a little bit, and we'll get into that. And if you remember, I showed you if you wanted to go old school and jack this thing up a little bit, it comes with a couple of blocks back here that you put underneath this rear leaf spring that brings this up, so you get that more jacked up look there. But I'm probably going to remove these. Might make a 4-link. I don't know yet. Well, we'll get to that. But I'm going to get some of the planning and some of this stuff gone ahead and cut out and make some tubs or something like that for it. So I think she's looking pretty good. Next up, front suspension. Oh, if you remember, the bottom of the engine was molded into the chassis. And you see part of the oil pan missing off the bottom of the engines because it's on that cross member there. and this was supposed to just go down on it like that, and then there was the cross member back here that held the transmission. But we cut all that away, and we're going to be smoothing all that out for the other engine, and we'll get to that in just a minute too. But we're coming along pretty well. That'll be in primer pretty soon. The seats, if you remember, were hollow in the back. There wasn't anything on there, so I took some 20,000 sheet plastic, laid that on there, traced around it, cut it out, and then glued it on, smoothed it down, started sanding, and as you see, kind of rounded it off and smoothed it in. You can't even feel the edge. I did leave a little bit of a kind of a ledge here at the very top because of the headrest. I started to just smooth all that in together, because in a small car like this, chances are with the roof on, you're not going to see it anyway, but I'll know it's there. So anyway, we've got that all smoothed in. I think it's going to look better, at least to my eye anyway. It's going to look better. The body, I've gone ahead and removed all of the scripts, because remember, it's going to be kind of a semi-pro street mild custom thing. All of the scripts, the marker lights, we've smoothed out the injection, not injection, but the mold lines here and along the front fenders. We'll be having to remove probably just a small portion of the inner fender wells. I'm going to see where that goes, and I may have to rework the firewall, but we'll see. We'll see. We get our first coat of primer on it, and then we'll look it over, and then we'll go from there. Only problem I've had thus far is the hood, and as you can see, this goes right down in here, and it fits very nice, straight, smooth until you get to the driver's side. And as you see, it fits flush till right about there, and then it starts going up, even though the other side is fine. The driver's side, it's just warped in this one side. There's just this one little corner here, because everything else, if you look back through there, is pretty flat. The vents on the hood, by the way, I'm going to be removing those too. I would have rather this had been warped all the way across. It'd been easier to straighten than just one little corner here. It's going to be a little more difficult to do, but we'll get it done. We'll get it done. Okay, let me reset the camera, and we're going to talk about the engine that's going in this thing. Okay, guys, y'all have heard me talk a number of times about 3D printing. If you remember, my flathead project was from Shapeways, and it was a really detailed, nice project. Some of the awesome tires and wheels I get from Bandit Resins and 3D Printing, K-Dog, awesome stuff. And I was always impressed with the level of detail that Miguel put into his engines at HobbiWerks. And I'm going to be talking a little more about him in a minute, but he started off, my first introduction to him was I needed something custom made for a 32nd scale NASCAR that didn't exist. And he jumped in really quick, and I can do that. And not only did he do it, but it far exceeded my expectations. I mean, check these out. They don't make these with the holes drilled, everything, well, hopefully you can see it, in 32nd scale like that. And I mean, these things are just unbelievable. And that's not all he's done, but we'll get into the other stuff when we get back over to that. But I called him and I told him, I said, Miguel, I love your 572 and your 632. I need a big block for a 32nd scale. And he said, not a problem. And I've seen his 632 and 572. I've got a couple of them. I think I got one of each in it, actually. And so he jumped in, reduced this thing in size. And if you remember, I love Linko transmissions. Now, this is a 16th scale that he did. Now, check out the detail in this thing. 3D printed. And, of course, the smaller you go, the more difficult it is to get these things done. And when I told him about the engine, he said, well, what tranny do you want? I said, I don't know. I'm thinking of Linko. And, here. So here, check that out. Didn't miss a beat on the detail. And I asked him, I said, let me get your opinion on something here. I said, what other transmission do you like? He said, I love the Tremec. And I said, all right, let's have a look. And check this thing out. This is the Tremec. This is a popular tranny. And here's our 632. She lines right up. I mean, perfect fit. So I'm thinking I'm going to go this way, but how do you not love that level of detail in that Lenco there? Wow. That's our 350 that came in the kit. And as you can see, this is scaled about right for a 632. And I mean, it fits the chassis absolutely beautiful with a transmission set in there. I mean, it was really something. Gorgeous head. Check that front out there. Great engraving, everything. There's even notches. There's a couple of oil pans there. Notches there for the oil filter. These heads, not only do you see the places for where these headers will plug in, but note, even the spark plug holes are there. So yes, this thing's going to be a full detail in this one too. Belt and pulley system, and the level of detail. Guys, you got to go over to his website and check out HobbiWerks, HobbiWerks.com. You got to check this out. I have spent an hour on there just going through stuff. Unbelievable. Great stuff. Speaking of great stuff, look at these pipes. Absolutely beautiful. Looking forward to it. And these 632 valve covers. And by the way, the 632 also sent an oversized oil pan. That's got the notch in it for the oil filter there. Just check that out. I tell you, it's almost going to be a shame to put this thing in the car with a level of detail. Then again, y'all know me, Batson style, so who knows. The valve covers, as you see in this picture of the real engine, the look, and check these out. In 30-second scale, look how crisp that is. This is just some awesome stuff. So this is the way we're going here, and we're going to be Pro Street tires, which he also did those. I'll show you those coming up. I went with the Cooper Cobras, and well, you see the wheels, but when I get to that part, then I'll spring that one on you. But be sure to head over and visit the site. You'll find something you want. He does do custom work, and if you have a 3D printer, you can purchase the files from him, and you can print them yourself. So head over, show him some love there too, guys. Great guy. Bends over backwards to help you. Make sure he's a modeler that looks after modelers. So be sure you check out Miguel. Guys, I think that's it right now. I'm going to go ahead and shoot some primer on this, then I'm going right back to the Roadrunner. Love you guys. I mean that. God loves you. By now, you ought to know that. I appreciate you more than you know, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks, guys.